Hey, what's up, guys? This is part two of the podcast I did for the price of success. Success has a price. This is part two of that podcast. I had to break it up because the first one was so long, man. It was over 30 minutes. It was pushing 35 minutes, and I didn't want to make it too long because it's a lot of other details and things that I didn't put in there. And so I'm just going to pick up where I left off from the first podcast. Success has a price. So if you didn't listen to that, please listen to it because if you don't listen to it, what I'm going to say here, you're going to miss out on a whole bunch of stuff because this podcast is the uh, the end of the first podcast. It's going to cap everything off. I wasn't able to cap it off on the last one because, like I said, I didn't want it to be too long. And you need to go back and listen to the first one in order for this to make sense. You need to have the whole thing in totality. Um, just like anything that's worth listening to, you don't want to take bits and pieces of something because you'll get it out of context. But by listening to the first podcast and then listening to this one, you'll get the whole totality of what I'm saying. It'll paint the picture for you really, really well. So once you are successful in whatever that bar is that you set, once you have achieved it, there's another price that you pay for success. So success has a price, and I broke down. I used my own personal story to show you the different junctures in my life where I had to pay the price in order to attain success. Um, this is what happens once you start attaining certain levels of success, and I'm going to share this with you. And this is the part that I don't think gets talked about enough. Um, Most people, if you're on social media a lot, and I'm not on social media a lot. I have a Facebook. Hardly ever on there. Um, I'm not on Pinterest. I have an Instagram account, but I barely go on there ever. I don't have a TikTok account, so I'm not a person that's all over social media. I find social media to be social fantasy land. It's a place where everyone goes to portray their lifestyle to be a thousand times better than what it actually is. And what's sad is a lot of the people who are posting these sensational things about their life, I know them personally, and I know that their lives aren't like that. But they go to social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, and they'll paint this picture of their lives uh, to try to make you be envious that they're actually living this great life. But behind closed doors, a lot of these people are depressed. They're suffering from very low self esteem, and they're not really successful at all. Um, so I'm not a person that's all over social media. Uh, so that's my conclusion uh, with social media. When I joined Facebook, I actually joined it to stay in touch with some coworkers I left at a previous job, and a lot of my family members was on there and some friends. So that's why I joined Facebook. I didn't join Facebook to so I can post a bunch of stuff and uh, show my life because I'm a very private person anyway. So I have no intention of putting my life out there so others can see it, so others can be envious of it. That's totally not my personality, and that's not why I joined. So that's why that's why I don't have TikTok. I'm not on there. Snapchat. What's the other one? Kick. I remember I was talking to this girl, and she wanted me to text her on Kick. She's like, "Hit me up on Kick. It's easier to talk that way." I I never talk to the girl again. Like if I have to download a Kick or something like that in order to talk to you, I mean that's a little ridiculous in my opinion. They have so many different communication uh, app, apps out there now. And it's just I just want to talk to people like normal. Like I want to talk to you face to face, talk to you on the phone or text on the phone. But If I have to get Kik or all these other applications in order to hold a conversation with you, then I just rather not. I'm at that point with it because it's just technology and social media is just is created such a chasm between individuals, especially men and women. I mean, everything is digital now. There's really no we're really losing the ability to relate to one another on a human level. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to the point. Once you attain a certain level of success, there's another price that has to be paid that people don't mention. And you're not going to see it on social media. And that's exactly why I brought up social media, because social media will show you what they try to show you is this is what happens when you're successful. This is the kind of lifestyle you lead when you're successful. But guys, I'm here to tell you something. When you attain a certain level of success, the other price that you pay that you're not going to see on Instagram, that you're not going to see on Facebook, you're not going to see on TikTok, you're not going to see on whatever else is out there. The other price you pay is isolation. And what I mean by that, guys, is that when you attain certain levels of success, the more levels of success you attain, the lonelier it gets, guys. I'm telling you. Now, you may think it's the opposite. If you look at Instagram or Facebook, it's the opposite. You may think the more successful you get, the more friends you get. No, that's not how it works. The more successful you get, the more leeches you get, the more attention you get. But attention and leeches are not friends, guys. You don't get more friends. Actually, you start losing friends the more successful you become. You'll gain a lot of acquaintances. You'll gain a lot of attention. You'll attract a lot more leeches. And your network will grow astronomically. But when it comes to friends, guys, and intimate, close relationships, you will actually lose that more than you gain as you attain different levels of success. The saying goes, it's lonely at the top. And that saying is so true. And I'll share myself. I have siblings. Out of my siblings, I am the most successful one from a economical standpoint. I already told you about the prices that I paid to achieve the little success that I was able to achieve at the moment. When you start obtaining certain levels of success, your friends, your family, the people around you will start to treat you different. And what I mean by that is, if you're a person who's successful economically and you have friends or family members who are not, they will start to look at you as someone who can help them out whenever they get into financial straits or a financial jam. I know this because I've lived it. I'm living it. So that's another price you pay for success, is that your friends and family now look at you as someone to go to whenever they have financial difficulties. Meanwhile, if you ever have financial difficulties, you would not be able to go to them for any assistance. It is not because they don't care about you or because they don't love you, but it's because they simply don't have it. They simply don't have the means to help you the way you have the means to help them. And it's not their fault that they don't have it. Or let me say, we're all responsible for our own decisions. But what I'm saying is they just don't have the means to help you if you was to ever get into a financial jam. Would they help you if you had it? If they had it, absolutely. Um, but they can't help you with something that they don't have. So you're always looked at as the go-to person to help people out, to help them out whenever they get into a financial jam or a financial straits. Um, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't help people. I'm not saying you shouldn't help your family. I'm not saying you shouldn't help your friends. But even in your helping, you have to draw the line somewhere. And the ones that really love you will never force you to draw the line because they'll never try to take advantage of where you are economically. They'll never try to take advantage of the fact that you are in a position to help them. And I have people in my life who I helped, and they really needed it. Like when they came to me for help, it was pretty bad. I have people like that where they love me, they care about me, and they're not going to come to me unless they're desperate. And obviously, if they're desperate, absolutely, I'm going to help. I'll help them before they were desperate. But what I'm saying is, when they love you, when you have that real love, and they have that real love for you, they're going to wait until they're desperate before they come to you. Why? Because they don't want to put you out, and they love and care about you, and they don't want to keep putting you in a position where you have to help them. That's when you know a person really loves you, because I wouldn't want to keep putting a person I love in a position where they always have to bail me out of a situation or help me out of a situation. And I have people like that in my life where, yes, I'm in a place where I can help them a little bit, but because they love me, they don't exercise that option unless it's absolutely necessary, unless the situation is dire. And then I have some people in my life where they have no problem pushing that panic button. You know, they have no problem picking up the phone and calling me and asking me for help or sending me a text message or something. They don't wait till it get to a desperate situation. It doesn't have to be desperate because they're just comfortable with asking for help. So you have to know when to cut people off, because when you're dealing with someone or someone's who come to you, who's always hitting the panic button whenever they're in a jam, and they have no problem doing it, and they're not apprehensive or anything like that on how they may be affecting you or putting you out, you have to be able to draw the line so that this doesn't turn into a habit where they're habitually just coming to you for assistance without even trying to work the situation out themselves. Sometimes when you have someone that can help you, sometimes it's better for you to not seek the help, but to try to find a solution yourself. And it's also better sometimes to just go without. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have an uncle, who's able to help you economically, or grandfather, or even your parents, or something like that. And you're trying to get something for your house. It could be a microwave, it could be a toaster oven. I don't know. It could be a chair, a couch, or something. And you know you can go to them for help, and they would give you the money and help you get that appliance or that piece of furniture for your apartment or for your condo, or whatever. You know they would. You have a great relationship. They love you. You love them. You know they would. But sometimes not exercising that option is actually better. Sometimes going without and figuring out how to get it your own way, or being patient so you can get it on your own and by your own means, is actually better than exercising that option. Things like this, when you operate that way and you get it yourself, even if it takes longer and it takes patience, and even after you have to work some things out in order to get it, it makes you appreciate it more because you knew what it took to get it. You're going to appreciate something a lot more if you had to scratch and claw and sacrifice to get it versus if you made a phone call and someone else got it for you. You're going to appreciate it a lot more because you're going to value it because you understood what it took for you to get it. You understood what it took for you to be able to move into your first apartment, to be able to buy that couch or to buy that coat or to buy that microwave. You're going to value that a whole lot differently than if somebody just bought it for you. Yeah, if they bought it for you, you're going to value it. Of course, you're going to value it. You'll take care of it. But the value of that item and the way you take care of it and your appreciation is going to be so much more and so different because of what you had to go through to get it. And not only that, it's going to build your character. These are some of the things in life that build your character. And if you're the person that's always available to bail someone out when they need assistance all the time, they're not building their character in this particular area of their lives where they need to be building character. The same way you did it, the same way you worked hard and you sacrificed and you had patience and you earned this and you earned that, or you waited or went without until you could get. The same way you was able to build your character in those instances and it helped shape you into the person that you became. It's important that they also allow these things to build their character and to help shape them in the same way it shaped you. And that's what I'm saying, guys. It's the more you attain successfully, the more goals you hit, the further you go up the successful ladder, it starts to get a lot lonelier, especially when the people around you are not achieving the same level of success, because you may want to go certain places that may be out of their budget. And at that point, I mean, you could pay for them. Sure, you can definitely do that. But that is not something you want to make a habit all the time. Unless you just have millions of dollars and you're cool with just paying for everybody. But I don't even think that's something that's healthy to do, because it can create a dependency and an expectation that's really unrealistic. I mean, an adult just can't expect another adult to always pay their way for something. It's cool to do it sometimes, but I don't think you should do it all the time, because it just creates unrealistic expectations. Because the one time you decide not to do it, it could turn into an issue. And according to most people who've been in this situation, who are rich, I'm not rich, so I only can tell you what they say, it does turn into an issue. The minute you say no the first time, now they're upset at you as if you did something wrong. So I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. But as you go up the ladder successfully, if people around you aren't achieving the same type of success, then you're going to be up there by yourself. And at that point, something has to change. You have to start meeting other people who are also climbing up the ladder successfully, or who are already there where you're at. And I'm not saying that to say, excuse me, guys. I'm not saying that to say you stop being cordial or nice with your family, you stop hanging out with them, you stop hanging with your friends, or you become this arrogant, bougie asshole that no one can stand to be around. But what I'm saying is, you have to start adding people to your circle who are also on the same road that you're on, because everyone's different. You may be ambitious and you may want to achieve certain levels of success, but the people around you, your friends, your family, they may not have that same ambition. So as you become more successful in whatever it is that you're doing, you want to also meet other people that are on that same journey. It's only going to enrich your life. You don't always want to be around people who are less successful than you are, because you will be more lonely, because they won't be able to do the things that you can do. They won't be able to take vacations and go on cruises and to go out to certain places to eat and to, dine out and do this and do that. Not because they don't want to, but because they don't have the means economically to do it. And the only way they can do it is if you pay for it, which is, I don't think is wrong. You can do that sometimes, but that's not something you want to do all the time. So it's important that you meet other people that have the same ambition as you do and the same goals as you do, so that you're not alone, so that you're not always lonely, so that you do have some peers who are on the same level as you, same equal footing as you. You need that. You need that, because I can tell you from personal experience, because out of my siblings and my friends, because the I'm more economically successful than them. There's a lot of things that I'm not able to do with them. I'll use a personal example. I'm a person that likes to. I remember we was me and a friend of mine and an acquaintance was talking about taking a trip for the summer, and we were talking about going to Mexico. I think Cancun or something. And my one friend, he he really couldn't afford that trip. I mean, he would be able to go, but he would have to save probably for a year, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with saving for a year to go on a trip. Nothing wrong with that at all. Um, but if there's ever a case where you wanted to go somewhere next month or in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or anything like that, or let's take a cruise next month or something like that, guys, that's not something they can do. That's not something they can do. So you're going to have to do a lot of things by yourself, which is cool. I mean, it's better to do things with other people, with your family, with your friends, obviously. But if they're not able to do it, they're not able to do it unless you're going to pay for them. So what you need to do is find other people who are on the same path as you. So if you want to take a trip or you want to go on a cruise or you want to do something like that, you'll have a network of friends who are economically where you're at, where you can do that and you can have a good time and you don't have to worry about the stresses of paying for someone else, where you can just go and just have a good time. And everything will be cool. So what I'm saying to you guys is, when you talk about success, we only look at what it can bring you as far as materialism, cars, clothes, jewelry, if jewelry's your thing. I personally don't like jewelry. Trips, and all this other stuff, which can definitely bring you enjoyment. Don't get me wrong. But there's another side to it, guys. The other side to it is the price you pay is that you start to become a lot more lonely and isolated the more successful you become. And if you become uber successful, then you really need to look out, because you're going to start meeting people who are so genuine to your face, but they are so manipulative and greedy in their hearts. And they wear these masks that are so perfect. It's the perfect disguise. She'll smile at you. She'll say all the right things. She'll touch you in a way. She'll make you feel a certain way. And it'll all be a mirage. It's all fake. And even with the guys, you'll meet a guy, you'll think he's cool. He says he has your back. He acts like he has your back. He can be funny. He can be charismatic. You can be like, all right, this is someone I can hang out with. He's not just here because of what I can offer him. And he is there for that. Like, people are so good at acting. That's why the more successful you become, you can't trust anybody. You know, you become paranoid. And I think paranoid is good in certain doses, because the other alternative of not being paranoid is being taken advantage of. And we see this all the time, guys. We see this all the time with girlfriends, relationships, with marriages, friendships being used, being scammed, all kinds of stuff, having someone steal from you. So this is the other side of it. And I'm not a millionaire, guys. I'm not a millionaire. I make six figures. That's it. I don't make millions of dollars. You know, I'm not driving an Aston Martin or anything like that. But the more successful I became, the lonelier I became, which sounds crazy because I have friends and I have family. But what I mean by that is that the dynamics of the relationship changes. I now become the person to go to for money. So now I'm not being seen the same way, the way I used to be seen. Whereas before I was just seen as a regular, normal person like them, which I am. But because there's such a big difference economically, I'm being looked at differently when I just want to be looked at as a normal person, as the average person, as a person that I was before. And then as your economics change or increase, so does your lifestyle. So now you start to live a lifestyle and you start to do things that your friends and that your family can't do because they're not living that particular lifestyle. It forces you to go out and meet new friends, which is hard to do because it's hard to meet people who are actually genuine. So this is the other side of it, guys. This is the other side of success, is that the further you climb, the lonelier it can become. So guys, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying being successful was wrong or that it's evil, but I just want you to know that the more successful you become, the lonelier it becomes as well, as far as true friends and people that love you and people that care about you. They'll look at you different. They're going to look at you different. They're going to treat you different, and you're going to attract the kind of people in your life that you would have never attracted before if you were just making $40,000 a year. There's people now that'll talk to me and that'll associate with me now that wouldn't talk to me or associated with me 15 years ago. It's just a fact, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. So guys, I hope this helped you. I hope you listened to the first podcast on Success Has a Price, and then you listen to this one. And this is my story. Obviously, it's not all the details of it. I just gave you the fast version of it, but there's a lot more to it, guys. Like, I made a lot of mistakes, like a lot of mistakes in my life. A lot, especially when I was younger, especially in high school, and I'm still making them now. Like I'm still making them now, but I'm trying to learn from them, and I'm trying to share it with you so that you will learn, because I don't want you to go through the things I went through. If I can stop one person who listens to this podcast to not make the mistakes I made, to not have a child out of wedlock, to not be undisciplined. Like to not listen to your mom when it comes to women and relationships. I didn't even do a podcast on that yet, but it's coming. I made so many different mistakes. Some was born on it by my own decisions, and some was from family and your parents. You can't control who you're born to, and you can't control what family you're in. And I didn't have a dad growing up, so I had to learn a lot of stuff late in life that put me behind the eight ball. So I started behind the starting line. A lot of us started behind the starting line. We didn't start at the starting line because we just lacked so many different things at the beginning, especially not having a male role model and not having a man in the house. That put me back so much. It put me back as a man. It set me back as a man. It set me back socially. It set me back from a discipline standpoint. It set me back from how to be responsible, my duties. It set me completely, my character, it set me completely back. I had to learn things so late in life, and that in time, you never get it back. You can never get back time. So whenever you start to be disciplined and you start to build character and you start to be a leader, you start to have integrity, at whatever age that happens, All the other years that you weren't that, you lost them. You don't get it back. So if you start becoming disciplined and working on being successful at 40, you don't get back the other 39 years. Well, not 39 because you were 1 year old, but you don't get back the other 29 years. Those years are gone. You got to start from where you start at that age going forward. But look at all the time that's been wasted. So if I can help anybody, if anybody is being helped by this podcast, it was worth it. Because I want to see you succeed a lot earlier than life. A lot earlier. Because I think if I had done things the right way, and if I had the tools to do the things the right way, that's the thing. A lot of us don't have the tools, and we don't get the tools until later on in life. And by the time we get the tools and start building a house, we look across the street, and someone else who already had the tools early is working on their roof while we're still just working on the foundation. So, guys, I hope you like this podcast. If you haven't listened to the first one, please listen to the first one, because this one here will make sense after listening to the first one. Leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. If you have anything similar, if you can relate to it. And I'll talk to you soon.